Hey guys, Justin from Salty Toad Fishing here. So I currently have the Minn Kota Riptide Ulterra. This is the one that has the auto stow and deploy, and I've had nothing but problems since I got it with the auto stow and deploy. Like a lot of people, my dog's over here, she won't leave me alone. Anyways, so I've had nothing but problems with the auto stow and deploy. I've replaced a ton of parts. Today, finally, the motor just pretty much completely blew out of it for the stow and deploy. So what I did is I went and I bought the Riptide Terrova. So pretty much what it is the same exact motor with the manual stow and deploy, so that I don't have to deal with those problems anymore. So anyways, I'm going to go through real quick what I need to do to replace this motor. Luckily, I have the quick connect mount on here, so this should be pretty simple. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and go through this real quick with you guys. So the two tools that I have right now are just a rusty Phillips head screwdriver, because I had this on my boat, and a 9/16 socket here. So I'm going to show you the first thing we're going to do is remove, this can come off here, and then we're going to remove this nut here. And it actually says right on this sheet of paper, the red washer you're going to dispose of. And you can see it says right on the sheet of paper, discard red washer. And then remove, or I'm sorry, yeah, the shipping spacer we're going to discard as well. So we'll get rid of that, we'll get rid of the red washer. I'm just going to go ahead and get those out of the way. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take this. Of course, you can see you have your pin in there that lines up with inside of here. So go ahead, get that on, get that lined up. There we go. You feel it'll kind of pop into place. And then of course, your washer and your 9/16 nut goes on there. If I can get it. Okay. All right, and this is a lock nut. And you'll feel once you get it, you know, snug, that's all you need to do. It's a lock nut, so it shouldn't come loose. So we should be good with that. So that doesn't have to be done first, but just figured I'll get that out of the way. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to release the old motor, and I'm going to pull this off the boat. Okay, so you can see all you have is a pin here, like a little cotter pin. So you pop that out, then this just slides out, and then this whole thing actually releases. So I'm going to get on this side of the boat so that I can pull that off. All right, I'm going to take that off. We're just going to flip it over. All right, and set it upside down there. So now all we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get this quick release plate off, and we're gonna have to get that mounted on the new motor there. So new motor, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna flip upside down. But what I'm gonna do first is I'm just going to remove the screws on these side plates. You have two Phillips head screws, just one on each side. Okay. And this will just pop out. Just be careful not to lose the screws. And they do have a little bit of grease on them. I shouldn't say screws, they're actually little bolts. And see, I got something set up over here just to hold my parts. Now this side with the wire, you're just, of course, just gonna kind of slide that up the wire, get that out of the way temporarily. Now the other side, same thing, two Phillips head screws, or bolts I should say. They're not screws. All right. And then this one just pops right off. So just leave that standing up with the little bolt still in it. Set that aside. All right. So now what we're going to do is just flip this over. Okay, Now in the instructions, it tells you to find a level surface, something to put this on. It recommends like a workbench or something. All I did is I put the foam blocks back in the piece of cardboard. What that does is just gives it a little bit of stability so that cardboard's not going to collapse on me, and that's going to work just fine. So as you guys can see, I mean, these are very similar setups here, so it should be really easy to go ahead and swap these out. So let's take a look here. Okay, so as you can see, we have 6 bolts on there, and we're gonna flip this on its side, and you'll see they have nuts on the other end. I have a wrench here, and we're just gonna start. The broken motor's not helping either. Of course, make sure you set these somewhere where you won't lose them. Alright guys, so I actually had to use a grinder, and I had to grind out the one bolt because it was too corroded to get it off. So I'm going to get a little bit of grease. I'm going to go ahead and grease these up, and I'm going to go ahead and put these back in. Bear with me for a minute and I'll get started. Alright guys, so I got these bolts greased up. I'm ready to go. So I'm going to take the nuts. I got to get them on the back side here. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to stand this up on its side best I can. Okay, put that in place. Okay, and then I'm going to get started here. I don't ever give you a ton of room in there. Okay. Just gonna get them hand started, a couple of them at least. Okay. All right, so now what we got to do is we got to put our side plates back on here. So let me grab that. One of them's over here. Okay. Remember, just 2 Phillips head bolts on this. Same thing, you don't need to over tighten these things. I want to be careful considering everything's plastic these days. We're going to go ahead, flip it over one more time. Okay, so that's all set for there. So now all we got to do is pick the motor up, set it back up on the boat on the quick mount, and as you can see, you just kind of have a little rectangular, cutout there, and that just sits right over top of the rectangular block there, which is mounted to the bow of the boat. All right. Alright guys, so that's all it sets in place. Now we go around, put this back, put that back in, put your cotter pin back in there, and then I would recommend just putting a small lock on there if you're going to leave the trolling motor on your boat. The one that I had, it came with the boat, I just cut it off. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a new one back on there. I know it's just keeping honest people honest, but still makes you feel a little bit better. So all right guys. Okay guys, so the last thing that you got to do is the wiring. You'll see that I have gone with one of the Minn Kota, the newer plugs that they have for the trolling motor. I've had trouble with the old plug that came with the boat, so I replaced it with this one. It's a bit more heavy duty than the old ones, and this one works much better. So all right guys, so good news. I was able to find what I needed. I have a whole pack of marine heat shrink that I had in my shed that I didn't know about. So I found that, and then I was able to heat shrink these together. I was able to use two proper metal connectors, and I'll show a picture here of those, and then I heat shrink them together, and then I always wrap a little bit of electrical tape after the heat shrink just to kind of connect everything up. And then you have the sleeve, the Minn Kota sleeve that comes with this plug, and then the plug literally just screws in. You pop it in, screw it in, and that's it. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna test everything. See, we got the test button here. Test button shows that we have a full battery. That's good. That means we have a good connection as well. So other than that, everything should be good to go. I'm gonna get that out of there. And I don't use the foot, I don't use a foot pedal, so I will just end up either zip tying, or actually I have some electrical tape right here. So I may just throw a little bit of electrical tape on that to hold those together, so that that little foot pedal wire is not getting in the way. So I will just go ahead, throw just a little bit of electrical tape on there to hold those together. Keep that up out of the way, since I'm not going to be using that wire. I know on my other one, it got kicked around, and the cap ended up breaking on it. So I'm just gonna do that to get it up out of the way. So other than that, everything should be good to go. The good news is now I'm not gonna have to worry about the auto deploy and stow. But if anyone has any questions, please just let me know. I'd be happy to help. So other than that, guys, I appreciate you tuning in. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next one.